Thomas Edison said, "Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time." Hello everyone, my name is Muhammadullah and I'm your English teacher. We're going through the second chapter, The Clever Girl. In our previous video, we covered up the reading portion. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the explanation and we'll also cover up the vocabulary. So what you waiting for? Let's get started. Here we go. The second chapter, The Clever Girl. This is a story about a small state in South Africa which was once surrounded by enemies. The people of the state were safe behind the wall for a while, but the enemies were pretty sure that the people would open the gate and surrender before them, because no one can survive without food for a long time. And this is what exactly happens. All their eatables, foods, animals exhaust, and the king with their people find themselves helpless and ready to surrender before enemies. But then a girl comes with a beautiful plan to save their people with the enemies. How? Let's find out. Long ago, there were small states in South Africa. These states were ruled by various kings. Some of the states were as small as a town or city. The powerful kings used to attack their nearby weaker states. So this is a story of that times when South Africa was divided into many small states. Few states were as small as a town or city, and every state has their own king, and the powerful king tries to capture the weaker states. There was such a small state called Zambia. The people of Zambia were rich. There were great walls around the state to safeguard it from the enemy. The Zambia's territory also included many villages beyond the wall. Once an adjoining state attacked Zambia. All the villages lying outside the wall were captured by them. Due to great walls, the enemy could not enter the state, so they thought of surrounding the state for a long time so that the people of Zambia would starve for want of food and surrender before them. Let me write you the meaning of the highlighted words. So the first one is here, territory. In Urdu, we can say territory means ilaka. In Hindi, can write like this, ilaka. region, territory. The Zamba's territory. Adjoining here, another meaning. Adjoining. Adjoining means, well, you may find the meaning in your textbook as well. Adjoining means nearby. And starve is given here. Starve means, in Urdu you can say bhook. You may also write in Hindi bhook. And surrender before them. This one is very important, you know. Surrender before them. You may surrender before God. So just remember the phrase here. Surrender before them. Surrender before God. Surrender before Allah. Alright? Note down the word meaning in your textbook. Okay? So, there was such a small but rich state named Zamba, which was surrounded by great walls all around the state, but there were many villages also which were developed beyond the wall. What happens once a nearby state attacks Zamba and captures those villages lying outside the wall and plans to stay outside the wall and wait until the people comes out due to starvation and surrender before them. For almost 3 months, the people of Zamba carried on with their routine life. Let me write you the meaning first. Exhausted. You see exhausted here. Exhausted. Here it means consume. Or finished. Hay and grass. Hay and grass. In Urdu, we may say घास फूस. घास फूस. We choose this pen. Alarming conditions. Alarming conditions here means critical situation, or in Urdu you can say खतरे की घंटी. खतरे की घंटी. Hardly means in Urdu you can say मुश्किल से or बमुश्किल. बमुश्किल. Summoned here. Summoned. In Urdu you may say तलब करना. तलब करना. बुलाना. Okay. And Resistance. Resistance in Urdu we may say Mazahmat. Mazahmat. Okay. So for almost 3 months, the people of Zamba carried on with their routine life. Gradually, they exhausted all their eatables, rice and wheat. There was not even hay and grass for the animals. Seeing the alarming conditions, the king ordered all the animals to be slaughtered. A few days more passed. Now hardly a thing was left with the people. The king summoned all the people and said, "We have exhausted everything. It may not be possible for us to continue with our resistance, and we should all starve and die of hunger." So the people of Zamba survive for 3 months, but then gradually they exhaust all their eatables. Noticing the critical situation, the king orders to slaughter the animals, and a few days more passes. The king summons all their people and informs them the situation, that they cannot continue resistance. Otherwise, we all will die of hunger. The people agreed. Let me write down the meaning first. Modalities. Here you see modalities. Modalities means in Urdu तरीक़े-कार, and here slaughtered. Slaughtered means in Urdu you may write zabah, zabah karna. Locating a goat here means finding a goat or searching a goat. Okay, so the people agreed to surrender before the enemy. While they were discussing about modalities of their surrender, a little girl named Nancy arrived on the scene. She was only 12 years old. "I can save the state from enemy," said Nancy. "How? You're too young to fight. Moreover, we are left with no eatables to survive," said the king. "I want only a goat," said the young girl. "What would you do with a goat?" asked the king. "You would see the enemy going away tomorrow morning," replied the girl. The king ordered a search for a goat. Since all the animals had been slaughtered, they faced great difficulty in locating a goat, but they succeeded in getting one. So the people also agrees to surrender. But then a 12 years old girl named Nancy comes up and she says that she can save them all from enemy. The king replies, "You're too young, and moreover, we do not have food to survive." The girl asks for a goat only. The king further asks, "What you gonna do with the goat?" The girl replies confidently that, "You will see the enemy going away tomorrow morning." So the king orders to find out a goat, as all the animals were slaughtered, so it takes too much time to find a goat. But finally, they got one. So they get one. Finally, they get one. After the goat was brought to the king's court, Nancy asked for rice and gram. People said that there was no rice and gram in the state and all that had been exhausted. However, people went away in search and they found some gram and rice and brought it to the court. As the goat is presented, Nancy further asks for rice and gram. As you know, the people of Zamba have already exhausted almost everything, so they faces great difficulty in finding the rice and gram. In this page, there are few highlighted words. Let me write the meaning first. Stunned. You see here, stunned. Stunned means in Urdu, you may say दंग रह जाना. Note it down in your textbook or notebook. Fed is the second form of feed. Okay, khilana. Serve our purpose. How is that going to serve our purpose? Here it means how is that going to help us? Okay, so give this rice and gram to the goat, said Nancy. Everybody was stunned, the king said. This is the only eatable left in the estate, and you want it to be given to a goat? Yes, said the girl with confidence. The rice and gram were fed to the goat. Now open the gates of the estate and leave this goat to go into the field, said Nancy. How's that going to serve our purpose? Asked the minister. It will, said Nancy, but the enemy would catch it. But the enemy would catch it, said people. Yes, they will, but you would also see them going away, said Nancy. So as the rice and gram are presented, Nancy says that give it to goat. Everybody is now shocked. They think they do not have anything to eat for themselves, and she wants it to be eaten by goat. She must have gone crazy. Now the rice and gram are given to goat. Nancy further says to open the gate and leave this goat to go into the field. The minister now asked the Nancy, how is this act going to help us? The enemy will catch the goat. Nancy replies, yes, they will, but you will also see them going away next day. The goat was let out of the state gates. Let me write the meaning first. Approach. You see approach here. In Urdu, you can say पहुंचना. What happens here? पहुंचना. Bewildered. Bewildered here. Bewildered means the meaning is given in your textbook. Confused. The goat was let out of the state gates. People saw the enemy soldiers approaching and taking away the goat. People were still bewildered, but they prayed to the God for the best. Next day, people climbed on the city wall to look for the enemy. They could not see any enemy and informed the king. The king summoned Nancy to the court. How did the enemy go away? Asked the king. Ask the villagers, replied Nancy. So as the goat sets free out of the gate, the enemy captures it and takes it away. People are still confused that how is it going to help us? Next day, people says there's no enemy at all. Not at all. So they informs the king about this. Now the king summons the girl again and asks, how did the enemy go away? Nancy replies that ask this to the villagers. People from nearby villages were summoned. One of the villagers said, the goat released from the estate yesterday was caught and taken away by the enemy. They killed it and tore its stomach open. They found rice and gram in it, saying that they said that it was not possible to defeat Zamba, since they had enough food even to feed their animals. Saying this, all of them went away. Thus a little girl saved Zamba from the wrath of enemy by her intelligence. The meaning here, Tor, it's the second form of tear, T-E-A-R, Farna. And wrath. Wrath means, in Urdu, we can say, ghazab. So, the king summons the nearby villagers, and one of the villagers narrates the story. He says the enemy captured the goat and tore its stomach open. They found rice and gram in it, saying that they said it is not possible to defeat Zamba as they have enough food even to feed their animals. Thus they went away. This is how a little girl saves his state from the wrath of enemy by using her intelligence. Alright, so that's